Drop Radio.
Yo, what's up, you beautiful people? Thanks for joining me on this beautiful Sunday, December 7th, 2025. It's getting close to the holidays, and on this episode, we are going to introduce you to the new direction of the show and how we're building brilliant, resilient humans who walk with agency and a vision to empower others around them. Let's go. Hola. ¿Cómo estás? All right, guys, we're back. A few different iterations, and if you don't mind, I'm going to share a personal story here. Back a few years ago, I remember sitting down with one of my trusted mentors, and I was frustrated about something. I think it was something like there wasn't a men's group, or there wasn't like a record label that was doing the things that I wanted to do, and my mentor, bless his soul, stops me mid-sentence and just goes, Mike, slow down, breathe, take a breath. And I'm like, what? Okay, take a breath. He goes, it sounds like you're really frustrated. And I go, yeah, damn right I'm real frustrated. And I didn't know what to do at that point. He goes, well, you know what? It sounds also like that thing that you want isn't created because you haven't made it yet. And I go, man, I hate when you're right. And he was right. And guess what? I came back to that lesson last week, because there's not a place out there that really taps into the stories, the real lessons that we can all learn from one another. And I wanted to put together, it's been a dream, just one of those like fantasies. Oh, what if there was like a radio show that put together all the little fragmented bits of my brain and put them in order, like segments of a radio show. You know, you can have like a topic on movement, like the best exercise to decrease back pain that I found with people with osteoarthritis or whatever. And then there's like, well, what if we had, because I wear a lot of hats, as many of you know. What if we had another segment that was like dealing with like the coolest upcoming music that I'm hearing? That'd be cool. I'd love to do that. Share my love and affinity for new music with the rest of the world. That'd be fun. And then what if there was like another part that was like, hey, like a philosophical part where we could get deep. We could think about how to think better. That'd be cool. We put them all together and that's a radio show. So I had the thought. I was like, and I've dabbled with this in the past. And now it's happening. So today's show, we're going to have some segments. Some of them will be rotating. Some of them will be standard. And every Sunday, I'm going to put together a radio show of the stuff that's coming up for you to look forward to and move your life in a good direction for the upcoming week. And there's going to be some stuff that I experienced from the previous week in that show. And that's the whole idea. The new year, I'm going to reach out here starting today and tomorrow for new guests so that I can make this a live radio show. And we'll go live Sunday. If you guys have a preferred time that you would tune in, that'd be cool. We can go live, bring you into the Riverside audience. We can stream to YouTube. We can stream to Facebook. Heck, we could even stream to Twitch. Crazy, right? And that way, that gives me a platform to bring all of my worlds together. My music, my health and wellness, and my story work. Putting all of that stuff together makes me feel real good. And you may have seen on the intro video there, sound, sweat, story. Boom. 3 pillars of me. Today, we're going to talk about something that I see quite a bit that people really fail to understand. Stress, otherwise known as load, and capacity, otherwise known as the ability to take more stress on. So I've got a quick segment on that, and then I'll pop us in for a nice quick relaxation, a delta, or maybe an alpha. I don't know. We'll see what I put in. We'll find out. It's a surprise. I'm going to put in one of my neuro beats that I created. I haven't decided which one, so it's a surprise to you and me. So make sure you're wearing headphones if you can. Share this out with someone you care about. And without further ado, let's get to the show.
Mic Drop Radio.
Okay, today's theme, focus, which, if you ask anybody around me, is incredibly ironic to kickstart this new evolution of the show, the podcast. Because if you're close to me, you know how how much bouncing around I tend to do. And granted, I've got a lot of great ideas in my brain. And one of the things that I've found recently is this difference between trying to focus and actually doing things. Like we hear it all the time: journal, get your thoughts out, meditate, sit in silence, go and do a cold plunge. These things they are absolutely beneficial. There's no way I'm discrediting that. The thing is, there's a difference between active recovery and active mindfulness and active down regulation in order to get to focus. And then there is such a thing as passive relaxation, passive down regulation, passive recovery. And one of the things I want to explore is this idea of these two worlds, because they both can exist and they both can coexist. What I found in my own personal experience is that oftentimes these things that were supposed to bring me less stress, such as meditation or journaling or just go for a cold plunge, it'll wipe your stress free. Okay, cool. Yes. And physiologically, it's actually quite the opposite for many of us, including myself. It actually spiked stress for me, especially the cold plunge physiologically. We all know that. Yes, sure. Afterwards, if we could get into the plunge, then it did. The greatest example of this, though, is meditation. A lot of people really put up a lot of resistance when we first want to introduce, as educators, as coaches, as health practitioners, to our clients. We have a lot of resistance. People are not familiar with meditation. They come to me and they say, I tried it. It didn't last. Okay, well, what happened? Well, I just sat there and I felt like I was doing it wrong because I couldn't shut my mind off. And while I know that that's kind of the point, it's really hard to tell somebody that and encourage them week after week to just keep trying, because it actually becomes more of a stressor. So if anything, the thing that's supposed to reduce stress ends up creating more stress. That was not as beneficial in my coaching practice as I had, imagined. So I started looking at different ways of doing things to get people to downregulate, to shut things off. And I came across neuroacoustic music. Now, this is the game changer, because all you got to do is put on headphones. There is no expectation. You just got to listen to some music. So most people can do that. And if you can sit down and dedicate 2 minutes, because it's medical grade music, right? We have to treat it as such. There is dosage. So dosage meaning length or duration, and also volume, in this case being that it's music. And when you were brand new, when I'm originally prescribing medical grade music, I want to make sure that the person on the other side who's never heard this stuff before doesn't overdose. Okay. So general rule of thumb is 2 minutes or less, and 2 minutes or less, and definitely a 6 out of 10 or lower in volume. And you can definitely increase that if you like. As the song progresses, you're like, oh, okay, this is actually pretty cool. But a lot of people who are super, super high strung do really well with 2 minutes and 6 out of 10. Now, why does this work? Well, because when we put neurobeats, my music, my medical grade music in, we get a certain frequency in this ear. We get a certain frequency in this ear. And the difference between the two is what triggers a specific brain wave. That it could be deep rest and recovery like delta, or theta, creative ideation, problem solving, or as the case here for today, alpha wave, where it's single task focus. So we just do the math and find out what is the frequency difference, what is the frequency that'll put our brain state right into the place where we need, and we can highly optimize our focus. For that, it's anywhere from 8 hertz to 12 hertz. So we put in 440 over here, and then we put 448 over here. And that difference creates the puzzle for the brain to solve, because it hears something over here, it hears something over here. It goes, well, I don't like that. That's a puzzle. We got to solve that. It sees that as a threat. So the brain, provided we're wearing headphones, the brain has to solve that problem. And in doing so, it drops us into this like trance-like state known as entrainment. So brainwave entrainment is poof, there. You don't have to do anything. You just got to listen to the song. How cool is that? That is what I call recovery that is passive. Nobody's ever told me, I just can't listen to music. I just don't know what to do. No, you just listen to music and it'll do its thing. Right? And that's the coolest thing. And that's what I wanted to bring to you today. Before we get into the other segments here, we're going to listen to some music, give you an opportunity to experience it all on your own with a little bit of active recovery as well. We got some sonic story work in. Just wanted to give you the Coles notes on passive versus active recovery. Mind blown, right? Bam! Hey everybody, Mike Schwartz here with Brave as Bears, creator of the Brave Method. I want to spend some time talking to you about something I find myself more and more chatting with all of my clients. One of the most simple yet complex formulas to success, known as load versus capacity. Now, you can see we've got two columns here. Those represent load. We got a dotted line up here, capacity. And I want you to think of load as really the amount of stuff that you've got going on in your life. Okay. Capacity, on the other hand, is the ability to handle all of that load, handle all the shit that you're doing in life. Okay. And we've got two examples here of one person A over here versus person B over here. I'm going to walk you through how this is relevant to anybody, especially those who are finding themselves stressed out, burnt out, unclear, or just generally without as much energy as they would like. Okay. We're going to start at the very bottom here. We've got what's known as anybody at all, especially when we're talking about physical limitation. We have things that are anatomically different from one another. So for instance, I work with folks that have hip replacements, knee replacements. I had open heart surgery myself. These are all things that are anatomical dysfunctions or differences between one another. Okay, these are things that are very, very difficult, if not impossible, to lessen. They are things that we get to work around, we get to navigate. The second box here is known as recovery. Another way of saying recovery is sleep, diet, and stress. When we can take care of these things, wow. That's incredible. That increases our capacity for sure. Then we have my job in my client's world is functional diagnosis. This is just as a doctor would diagnose how to navigate all of the things, all of the load in our life. Again, these two, the functional diagnosis and the recovery, these are totally controllable. Okay. And that's why it is so beneficial to work with a professional when you are experiencing extreme burnout. Because then on top of these three things, these two are controllable. The anatomical differences are less controllable. But work, that's always going to happen. Home life, that's always going to happen. These are things in your life. And then you come to the gym, for instance, for the clients that I'm working with in movement patterns and such. Then they come in and they want to do a workout and they start with their push-ups and then they go into the lunges and then they go into kettlebell swings, and the kettlebell swings is the proverbial straw that broke the camel's back. Now, oftentimes when people do this on their own, they'll go to the doctor because the doctor, the white coat, is God in most people's lives. The doctor will go, well, what did you do? And they'll say, well, I started swinging kettlebells. Oh, that's a terrible, my back went out. That's a terrible, terrible exercise. Of course, when you swing a kettlebell, it's no good for your back. Cut the kettlebell swing. They don't take into account all of the other bullshit you added up into your life before you even got to the gym. And this is probably after work anyways, so you're already at capacity, right? Now, that happens far too commonly. When we go over capacity, we run into problems. When we are under capacity, we got no problems, which is amazing. Now, let's take the second person. Now, the anatomical differences are still going to be the same. Okay, we're still going to have the heart surgery. We're still going to have the knee replacements. We're going to still have the diabetes, whatever it is. We're not going to get around that, right? What we do, though, is we hire a coach. We bring somebody in that knows ways to manage sleep, navigate a healthier sleep hygiene habits. Somebody who knows a thing or two about nutrition can help us eat higher quality food and stay with it. And also somebody who helps us navigate our stress. That's sleep, diet, stress. That cuts the recovery box. That load now gets cut in half. And then because of that, that coach is also functionally diagnosing and helping that person navigate the controllables. So they simultaneously lessen the load as well as increase the capacity. So pretend this line even goes higher up. Now, the anatomical differences, like I said, they stay the same. Recovery goes down. Functional diagnosis goes down. The work life stays the same, the home life stays the same, but now we've got more room before we hit that capacity block. So we can get away with those kettlebell swings without any problems. Now, is that to say that's always going to happen? No, of course not. But this is the way that we simultaneously lessen the load and increase the capacity so that we can continue to do the things that we love to do. Now, if you have any questions, you guys can find me over on my Substack, Mike the Schwartz. That's where I've got stories in stereo. I go through all of this. I'm also opening up a brand new container, a 5-day challenge to help you understand principles like this and help you get on your way with the 5 things that I see that contribute to lack of clarity in life and how to navigate those things. So I'll be opening that up. Your best bet to stay in tune on that is to head over to the Substack, become a subscriber. Depending on where you're seeing this, just drop a question. Drop it down below. Let me know how I can help you out. If you have any questions with this, or if you have any comments, or if you know somebody who needs this, please feel free to tag them, share it out with someone you care about. Until next time, stay sweet. Peace. I figured this one out. We're going alpha. I've got this bop of a song called Thunder, done by myself on production and some wood flute, and my buddy Rosho Music. I'll be sure to tag him. I'd like you to grab a pen if you're open to the active recovery section. We're going to do some story work, a little language game. And if you just want to sit back, grab your headphones and listen to the track, listen to the track. I'm going to give you a little guided practice though, okay? When we talk, you may remember I was talking earlier about active recovery versus passive recovery. Passive recovery we've got going right now. This is the sonic part of the story work. And when we come up against focus, a lot of people think that the opposite of focus is they're distracted. And actually, traction is the opposite of distraction. Get it? Distraction. The opposite is traction. And oftentimes when we find ourselves distracted, we need some traction. We need to get out of what I like to call, and I'm sure all of you can agree, this happy procrastination problem. Okay, so the drill I'm going to give you is known as the should detox. What you're going to do is take out a pen, write down one thing that you should do today. Whether that's put away the laundry, whether that's make dinner, whether that's get to the store, whatever it is, write down, I should blank. Then you're going to take a look at that. You're going to read it back out loud to yourself. Take a deep breath in, exhale, and take it to the body. What comes up? What sensation do you feel in your body? Do you feel tightness? Do you feel frustration? What do you feel? Where do you feel it? What does that sensation feel like in the body? The body is a master of keeping all of this. And then once we've got that, we're going to take a look at the line that we wrote. We're going to scratch one word out, should. I'm going to scratch should, replace it with could. Now read it again. One thing I could do today is deep breath in, exhale. What comes up? What changed? Anything? All right answers. Just notice it, name it. If you're still open to it, we're going to scratch out the could on this go. We're going to scratch out could. We're going to replace it with can. One thing I can do today is whatever you said. Deep breath in, big exhale, take it to the body. What comes up? What sensation do you feel on a scale of 1 to Justin Bieber? How intense is it? That's an 11 for you playing at home. All right, and that's 2017 Bieber. Okay, he's a wild child. What one do you prefer? Can, could, should? Okay, you may start to notice a difference just with that one word, and that's the active part of this recovery. Because now, with any luck, you're feeling a little more motivated to do that thing, one thing I can do is, now, let's seal the deal. See, they did this little study with a bunch of people. They had 2 lines at a retail store or something, and they sent people into one line just looking to cut in line. They said, "Excuse me, can I cut in line?" And they just left it at that. They had the other line where they sent people in to cut in line, but they made them say, "Because, hey, could I cut in line because I'm late for work? Hey, could I cut in line because my grandma's sick? Hey, could I cut in line because I like to cut in line?" It didn't matter what the because was. They just had to use a because. Now, which line do you imagine got a better result? A cutting in line. You're right. If you're thinking the people that used because, it was exactly that, because they were selling it. Okay, and sometimes you got to sell yourself on why you can do the thing. Okay, whatever that chore is. Maybe it's putting the laundry away, maybe it's making dinner, maybe it's getting groceries. Whatever it is, you got to sell yourself. Be a salesman. So at the end of that I can line, drop a because, and then just finish the sentence. Okay, and once you've done that, read it out loud, take a deep breath in, and sit with that. Let the song take you with that focus. And that, my friends, is how we passively get through single task focus. And if you were doing the story work, you also had a little bit active. Thank you so much for playing with me. Be sure to share that one out with someone you care about.
Mic Drop Radio.
Okay, folks, we're coming up to the end of the show here today, and one of the final segments I want to introduce is a brand new one known as Bare Necessities. That's right. Okay, bare necessities. Like, these are the bare bone essentials of what you need to do. Now, keeping in theme with the song that we just heard, Alpha Wave, Thunder, Focus. One of the biggest things we find with focus is a movement practice that can help us generate more energy than expend. And I know it sounds crazy to think about because we just think typically about exercise as being something that depletes our energy. Like, we are technically, when we think about working out, we are technically the closest to death we ever will be right after that workout. And there's a way to help generate more energy than expending with exercise. It's called working in, and it's a practice that I learned through the Czech Institute. I'm going to give you some Cole's notes on this, and you can practice it right at home, right here, right now. Easiest way is just reversing your breathing. Okay, so this comes from like Qigong, Tai Chi, known as anatomical breathing, as opposed to what we know in the gym as mechanical breathing. You know, when you're going down into the squat, you go down, you're holding your breath at the bottom, like, hey, and then you pop up and you breathe out on the pop out of the squat, like, right? The reason we do that Valsalva, that bracing, is because our breath has basically two purposes. One, to prevent, like that bracing technique in mechanical breathing, it is to prevent the rib cage from literally exploding. Okay, that's the bracing. That's the thing that keeps the spine together, keeps the rib cage together. When under heavy load, that's really important to do. The other one, not as well known and still very applicable, is what we call anatomical breathing. Now, this is easily put is when we expand our lungs, they are more susceptible to taking in oxygen. So we want to capitalize on that. That is anatomical breathing. So in the same movement, a squat, what we would do is when we're going down, we would be breathing out. Okay? Down from that squat. And then as we come up, breathe in. Now, I'm going to demonstrate right here, right now. Okay? So if I'm going down, anatomical squat, I'm going down. Then I'm going to come back up. Breathe in through the nose. Exhale. Just like so, as opposed to the opposite way, which is mechanical breathing. Now, that is really important. Now, here's the caveat. 60% or less. That's it. Of your 1 rep max. That's when you can use anatomical breathing. So really appropriate for lighter days where you're feeling like you just need a good little focus session. You need some more energy to get your brain going again. No weight required. You can do this all body weight. So you can do body weight squats. You can do body weight push-ups. You can do lunges. Just going for a walk and being mindful of your breathing will be the oftentimes that's the fastest way to do it. So that, my friends, is the bare necessity for today. Thank you.
Mic Drop Radio.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. That is it. That is all. How we do there, folks? How we do? Yeah, that's what I thought. I mean, I'm really looking forward to having some more guests on here. We're going to be doing some live Coach's Corner. Also get some bands on, get some local acts in here, some of the coolest stuff. So lots more segments. If you had a good time and half as much of a good time as me, I think you had a great time. Please be sure to share this out with someone you care about and go give a generous review, an honest review, up to 5 stars if you like. And that really helps get this into more of people's ear holes that need to hear these things. This was just a total improv. Here's what I'm going to do on Sunday. So thank you so much for paying attention. Like I said, please subscribe. Go check out the Substack. Going to have all the notes down in the bottom where you can find what I'm up to. And until next week, y'all stay sweet. Peace.